Hey there, boys and girls, Curator here, Molly Content. Today we have Picture Scoop, and this is the first issue of 1942, October. This little magazine is something kind of interesting. I think there was only like 5 or 6 issues in total. It was during, the World War. I imagine the war kind of killed this magazine, honestly. Before we hop into the actual magazine itself, I do want to mention and say, on my other channel, I've uploaded 5 videos. So if you guys want to see some gameplay content, it is there. I've done thus far some Mario Kart and a whole new series based on a game called Look Outside. It is a horror game. I know I said I'll do Mafia first, but honestly, I'm so tired with trying to get the game to work on my damn fucking PC. I'm so sorry. I just can't. I can't get my head around it right now. Another time, another time. But let's hop into the actual magazine. The Man with the Grasshopper, Mind. So let's hop in here and read a little bit. There are some issues, like some parts of this here I do want to read because it dives into actual hardcore history, and I do want to learn. So it's be a fun time here. So the Man with the Grasshopper Mind. I don't believe this one. Let's see here. Shall I wait till the war is over? Ought to put that money making idea. Think I'll try to make my evenings worth something. Believe I'll do something. I believe I'll do some good reading. Someday I'm going to start out for myself. Think I'll change my job. You know this man as well as you know yourself. His mind nibbles at everything and masters nothing. Oh, say it ain't so. At home in the evening, he tunes into the radio, gets tired of it, then glances through a magazine. Can't get interested, finally unable to concentrate on anything. He either goes to the movies or falls asleep in his chair. Holy crap, this rings true to modern day, but less about to be, less of things that happened back then and more things we have now. I can relate to this guy. At the office, he always takes up, or falls asleep in his chair. At the office, he always takes up the easiest thing first. He puts it down when it gets hard and starts something else, jumps from one thing to another all the time. Okay. There are thousands of these people with grasshopper minds. In fact, they are the very people who do the world's most tiresome tasks and get but a pittance for their work. They do the world's clerical work and routine drudgery, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, endlessly. They hang on to the jobs that are the smallest salaried, longest houred, least interesting, and poorest futured. If you have a grasshopper mind, you know that it is true, and you know why it is true. A brain that balks at sticking to one thing for more than a few minutes surely cannot be depended upon to get you anywhere in your years of life. Holy crap! These things from the olden days are spitting. If you aggress your mind, blah blah blah. It's true. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep up here. The tragedy of it all is this: you know that right now you are merely jumping here and there, yet you know you have within you the intelligence, the earnestness, and the ability that can take you to the right high place you want to reach in life. What is wrong? What's holding you back? Just one fact, one scientific fact. That is all. And when you know what it is, then you can easily learn how to apply it. Make it help to carry you steadily, positively, and directly to prosperity and independence. The fact is one which has been proved and stated by the world's foremost scientists and psychologists. You are only a fraction as successful as you could be. Why? Because, as science says, you are only using a fraction of your real brain power. Okay, that's been disproven. This is false. At all times, you're using your entire brain. Now, what it could be, and what it probably is, as in my case, ADHD. I'm not sure how well research ADHD was in 1942, but as you can tell, they're spitting out some science that has been disproven. So always remember, this stuff's old as shit. A fraction of his brain is all the average person uses. He is paid for a fraction of what he really possesses because that is all he actually uses. The remainder lies dormant. The longer it is unused, the harder it becomes to use. to use it. For the mind, it is like a muscle. It grows in power through exercise and in use. It weakens and deteriorates with idleness. What can you do about it? That is the question you are asking yourself. The answer is Pelmanism. Pelmanism will teach you the secret of confidence, of a strong will, of a powerful memory, of unflagging concentration. Oh my lord. It tells you how to acquire directive powers, how to train your imagination, the greatest force in the world, how to make quick, accurate decisions, how to reason logically, in short, how to make your brain an instrument of all round power. It tells you how to banish the negative qualities like forgotten brain fog. Wait, that is not fog. I'm not saying that word. And uh, inertia, this indecision, self-consciousness, lack of ideas, mind wandering, lack of system, procrastination, timidity. Men like author Edgar Wallace, Sir Harry Lauder, Prince Charles of Sweden, Jerome K. Jerome, the famous novelist, make sure do we okay, I'm sorry, I was trying to make sure. Famous novelist Major General Sir Frederick Maurice, Admiral Lord Beresford, Frank P. Walsh, chairman of the National War Labor Board, and hundreds of others equally famous have been praised for a simple method of increasing your brain power. Over 750 others, 750,000 others praise it. Now, for only $1, you can test Palvinism. I'm sorry, as always, I have to like look up this nonsense. This is bullshit. Palmanism is a 19th century mental training system developed to strengthen memory and cognitive function, which later evolved into a popular memory card game often called concentration. Pairs are memory. Okay, so it's legit, I guess. I'm just trying to make sure that this is. So you know what? I'm wrong. This is not debunked. This is a perfectly valid way of doing it, I guess. Even though it sounds stupid to me. Whatever. Do not feed or annoy animals. $25 fucking fine. Holy shit. You get fined for that anymore? I don't think so. We're gonna skip by this one, and we have a lot of fun things to read through today. But so of course, as always, it's always a time constraint, and I don't want to read every little thing. I read a lot already from the one little part, but one part I do want to read is should we draft labor? That's the one thing I do want to read because that one is very interesting because there's tons of people that, like we're trying to avoid a draft back in the day. So let's take a look at things that like we will be reading for certain. So, page 5. Yep. We'll also look at how to win an army commission on page 17. So I'll make note of that. Page 5, 17. What else we got here? Victory Party on page 30 because that sounds interesting. And what else do I want to take a gander at? Uncle Sam is interesting, so let's get page 20 as well. And for the fun of it, we'll look at the jokes on Hitler. That's on page 37. And that is all we'll be reading from this today. But, it'll be a fun thing to do. That's how I'm probably going to handle it from now on, is that I'll pick on like what I want to read instead of like just going through each and every page like I've been doing, and that's like reading and like, staring at what I actually like. So let's read this. The chairman of the War Manpower Commission answers a question now uppermost in the minds of millions. Yeah, it's a pretty important question. In the space of a single Hawaiian sunrise, the pattern of American life was completely changed. The treacherous attack on Pearl Harbor plunged us into total war. Total war takes in everybody. We citizens, thousands of miles from the battlefronts, must do our share, or we cannot win. We must pay heavier taxes, far heavier than we have ever paid before. We must work longer hours. We must give up the things that are needed for war production. We must conserve materials that are scarce. All this we must do cheerfully and wholeheartedly to maintain the spirit at home, which will be reflected in the courage and the bravery of the men who are shooting the guns. The smoke from the sneak attack at Pearl Harbor had not cleared before American industry began to clamor for skilled workers in 228 different occupations essential to the war effort. Millions of workers with judgment and trained hands were required to turn the nation's needs and the president's promises into 60,000 planes, 45,000 tanks, 8 million tons of shipping in the space of a single year. If we are to win the war, and we will win industry most certainly must have these workers. Modern wars are fought solely by men. Are not fought solely by men in uniform. Behind them must be manpower and woman power of the nation, tending the machines that provide our forces with their tanks and bombers and supplies. It takes many soldiers on the production front to supply a single soldier on a battlefront. Every American not in the armed service is or can be a soldier on the production front. This is true. So I know this because when my great grandmother was a young child, mind you, this is back when things were a little bit different. She was born right before the war really kicked off, back in '37, I believe, or sorry, it was '36. And what happened was when she was a young girl, she would help out with some things, and she just stuck in factories and helped out. She talked about it every once in a while. It was pretty cool to me. We are striving to maintain war production schedules that a year ago would have been called impossible, but every day we must increase the pace to make more bombs for our mystery sky raiders, who are bringing the war home to the Japanese, more ships for the Victory Fleet, more munitions for the commandos, more flying fortresses to avenge Bataan. To meet this increasing tempo of the assembly line, we must overcome the present shortages of skills. For every toolmaker available today, 25 others will be needed. For every ship mechanist to build a victory fleet, 22 others must be found or trained. At the beginning of last year, we had about 1.5 million war workers. By the end of this year, in addition to the millions in the military service, we may need 16 million more. Instead, the President has appointed me chairman of a commission to bring about the most effective mobilization and use of the nation's manpower for the prosecution of the war. Too many people in this happy country seem to still think the war can be won without inconvenience to them. I tell you, we will win this war, but not that victory will demand. But that victory will demand the cooperation of every man and woman, and by that I mean their active participation. Okay. So before we hop into the next page, I do want to get my faults here because this is actually pretty cool. This also is kind of progressive in a sense because it's not just men on the production front. Because we became quite aware during as the war got a bit further in that we just don't have enough men at home to actually fill the quota for like all this shit anymore, man. They're either too old or too young, and I give my example, my grandmother who was like I believe towards the end of the war was like 8 or 9 years old. Even she was doing her thing. So yeah, it's pretty important to not gloss over the fact that women helped in the war effort, major time, and it also changed how we did stuff going forward after the war because women want to keep their damn jobs and they didn't want to lose them by the men coming back, but it also led to a whole thing where all these soldiers coming back didn't have jobs anymore because all the women took their jobs. And it's kind of oh my god, it took our jobs type from South Park. So let us go up here. Some think the so-called 40-hour week, the 40-hour week has held us back. Certainly, no one knows the facts, believes that. The American 40-hour work week is not and has not been a limitation upon the hours of labor. Machine toolists have been working for 56 hours or more a week. Shipbuilding workers have been on the job 52 hours a week. And the men in the locomotive works for 53 hours a week or more weekly. What we need is not more hours per week per worker, but more skilled workers and better use of the trained hands available today. I have a lot to say about that. This is a different circumstance, obviously, because this is war. Having all these extra hours of work is so ass. When I had a hardcore job, I did oh man, it was a good number of hours every damn day, and I did it like 5 days a week. On average, it was like I want to say 10 to 12 hours a week. Well, not a week, a day. So we'll multiply that like 50 hours a week. We'll say 10 hours. Times that by 5. Yeah, 50. Oh boy, yeah. That was ass. I'll tell you what. What we need is not more hour. Okay, sorry. I get back to my starting point. But ending certain prejudice, we can immediately gain a large supply of competent labor. The urgency of the times has provided a new horizon for older persons. Formerly discriminated against, factory gates are beckoning to them. Employers are looking for trained workers and are hiring them regardless of age. This is true. Intolerance has not only denied many Americans their rights as Americans, but denied our victory program. Many production soldiers today and tolerance is not only unjust, it is unpatriotic. It is unsafe. Our strength as a nation has come from the variety of skills brought from every land. Our survival as a free nation depends on using them now. The America's Negro population has skills vital to the war effort, but Negroes are denied a place in many aircraft plants, shipyards, and steel mills. Restrictions against loyal aliens, religious and racial minorities, and naturalized citizens serve only the cause of Hitler and the mad militarists of Japan. Women, too, form a large labor reservoir that can be drawn upon to replace men called to military service. Industry reluctance to hire women ignores the special skills and talents that they bring to precise repetitive assembly line work, which have opened the doors of some nation and aircraft factories to them. Over 1.5 million women are registered with the United States Employment Service. 90,000 of them are now taking the training courses in centers of the National Youth Administration. Barriers to the employment of women who are fully qualified and able to do the job, like other labor bans that interfere with the war production, must be leveled. I agree. Oh boy, hold on. I need a little drink of water. Billions of other Americans can join in the battle on the production front. With training their government will provide, men who work in the civilian industry are grimly teaching their hands new skills. Boys and girls are pouring into vocational training classes eager to learn welding and riveting. Classes eager to. Okay, sorry. To date, the government's war training program has enrolled 300,000 men and women, youngsters and oldsters. The chances are that there are such training centers near your home. The United States Employment Service, which has a local office in every sizable community, will tell you where to go to polish up a rusty skill or convert your present trade knowledge to war needs. Very cool. Okay. Oh man, this is actually a really good damn read. I'm actually learning a lot here. The one thing is, like, unlike the other article that we glanced at, which I was very skeptical about, even though it turned out to be kind of true in the end. I'm like, wow, this is this feels I'm feeling very patriotic, if you will. One of the greatest threats to steady production when labor supply runs short has been the pirating of workers from plant to plant. There is a West Coast airplane manufacturer who sent labor scouts all the way to Michigan to hire skilled workers away from a plant which was manufacturing parts for his own planes, and then found the production stalled because these parts were unattainable. That does not make sense. It doesn't. Like, that's actually freaking funny as fuck, though. That's worker poaching, is what we call it today. A Minnesota company sent labor scouts as far as San Diego, where they recruited workers from the drop hammer department of the Consolidated Aircraft Company. It does not make sense either, nor do many other similar cases. While we are in this total war, if we properly match men and women, match men and jobs, the output of America's war production will be increased many-fold. A misplaced worker represents serious waste. A worker who must travel from job to job represents a waste. Waste of his own time in traveling, waste of the time it takes to break in a new worker to replace him. There are, in America, men and women in homes, in the schools and the colleges, and in non-essential occupations who are ready to do the jobs the nation needs for victory. But the ordinary processes of peace and bundling through, hoping things will average out, will not do in a time of war. Action must be taken to bring workers in jobs together. Under jurisdiction of the War Manpower Commission, are all those agencies will have to do the facts of labor and labor supply in the needs of industry and the military forces. We must translate our production goal into terms of labor needs, despite all the shifting requirements of a mobile worldwide war. We must try to map out in our manpower general staff, exactly where and when our workers will be needed. Efforts are underway to ascertain the skills of available workers. We must relate skills to the needs of war production. We can then plan and execute training programs best designed to provide workers for every essential job. Is this a draft of labor, or are we beginning to regiment the lives of workers? Should we draft labor? These are questions I am sometimes asked. My answer is no. With the immediate and full cooperation of every American worker, a draft will not be necessary. Every American, I'm sure, wants to know where and when and how he can best put his or her shoulder to the wheel for America's victory. Every American wants to know what he or she can do to help most. With those facts fully in hand, with priorities set for jobs as we can set priorities for materials, we will find very little but voluntary cooperation. Give the free people of America the facts, and you can depend upon them to act. Then we will have no need to draft labor. If only our modern day government could learn that. Only. Getting a little political. But overall, this was a pretty damn good read. We have some other things still to read here. Let's head over to page 17. All right, How to Win an Army Commission. This will be a fun read, I'm sure. God damn, bro. Look at him all kicked up. I'm sorry, is that inappropriate? Hmm. Oh, I need to zoom in a little bit more. It's a little hard to read this one. Coincident with the United States' greatest army expansion program in history is the need for approximately 100,000 new officers to lead our forces to victory. To victory. What am I talking about? There are 5 principal ways of obtaining a commission. 1. Through aviation cadet trainings, schools open to enlisted men and civilians between the ages of 18 and 26. 2. Through reserve officers training schools open to students at colleges where such units exist. 3. Through the Adjutant General's Office, which appoints as officers through the oh my lord, through the Adjutant General's Office, which appoints as officers civilians who are specialists in specific fields, chiefly technical and scientific. 4. Through the medical or dental corps, if you are a physician or a dentist. 5. Through the officer candidate schools, open to men between ages 18 and 45, since most men will be commissioned after intensive training at these schools. Those desirous of becoming officers should be familiar with the requisites for admission. The principal one stress above all others is evidence of outstanding qualities of leadership. Applicants for officer candidate schools must also receive a rating of 110 or better in the Army General Classification Test. This test, which is given soon after a man's induction, is based almost entirely on the subjects not related to formal education and designed to test a soldier's ability to think and react speedily and accurately. Those who fail for reasons beyond their controls may be allowed to take a test for a second time. That's good. They're not screwed over entirely. A company commander, constantly on the lookout for officer material, recommends men for a school after they have completed 3 months of basic training, but those who are not named may also apply. All applicants are given both a written and oral test. By examining board of officers, cognizance is taken of a man's past experience and rapidity with which he responded to training, and in determining whether the candidate has ability to lead men is not necessary. That he demonstrate that equality by actual command of soldiers. Of the great many prospective officers now and out of the army, very few have had such opportunity. Leadership can be recognized through other qualities: the ability to think rapidly, clearly, and comprehensively, a determination to carry one's actions through to a logical and satisfactory conclusion. Those who are finally chosen by the board receives 13 weeks of intensive training at officer candidate schools. These schools are conducted for following branches of service: infantry, field artillery, coast artillery, cavalry, engineer, signal corps, ordnance, quartermaster, medical, administrative, armored force, chemical warfare, oh my, finance, air forces, the adjutant general, and the provost marshal general. If successful in the final examination, the candidates are appointed second lieutenants. Among the thousands who were reportedly commissioned was Kenneth E. Hughes, left of the Olympia, Washington, of Olympia, Washington. After receiving his basic training, he was sent to the elementary school at Fort Benning, Georgia. After reporting to his commanding officer, Kenneth Hughes is assigned to a company in the mess hall. 2. The men all wear nameplates so that they will become acquainted more easily. Officer candidates find that morning inspection free is a rigid everything has to be in its place and neatly arranged. The daily programs start with a spirited period of calisthenics. I might say that wrong. To get the circulation going. Classroom study is important, although most of the training is conducted under the blue skies. Kenneth Hughes and his fellow training mates witnessed many demonstrations, such as exhibition involving bayonet technique and disarming tactics. Before completing their course for commissions in the infantry, they fire and study all infantry weapons: rifle, automatic rifle, bayonets, hand grenades, light and heavy machine guns, light and heavy mortars, carbines, and anti-tank 37 millimeter gun. Candidates are also taught tactics and the proper methods of moving troops, how to take advantage of cover and concealment, how to issue an order, how to keep lines of communication going. They are also given instruction in anti-aircraft defense, company and mess management, first aid, sanitation, and hygiene. Every student at an officer candidate school receives at least the pay of a corporal. However, upon arrival at the school, distinguishing marks that would indicate rank are immediately removed, and all students wear the same officer candidate school insignia. Very cool. Ooh, man, this is a beefy one. Let's take a gander here. The types of training experience available to those seeking a commission. Every man in the army will have an opportunity to qualify for admission to one of the. Okay, I think we kind of read this already. It's a shortened one. So we have that out of the way. Next up is page 20, and we're actually already here. And after that, we'll go to page 37, and we'll be done with today. We'll zoom in a little more. It's getting hard to see. It's really hot in my room. When the Declaration of Independence was signed, Samuel Wilson was just 10 years old. The boy's father had come from Scotland and settled on a Massachusetts farm. Scotch thrift and hard work made the land fruitful for 8 sons and 2 daughters. While they were little, but few New England farms offered enough work for 9 grown men, so Sam and his brother Ebenezer learned brick making from the village brickmaker. However, the town could not support 3 men in the same trade, and 2 of you set out for the west. Sam and Ebenezer Wilson pioneered on foot over rugged mountains, squirrel guns and knapsacks on their shoulders. They traveled for some days following the forest paths, fording creeks, depending on game for food. They finally reached a little Dutch settlement, Troy, New York. It stirred with coming prosperity, and there were no brickmakers there. Directly, Sam and his brother shut up shop. Okay. Troy fried. So did Wilson's. Soon Sam married a pretty young girl named Betsy Mann. While still in the 30s, still in his 30s, he became a veritable captain of the industry, the employer of 200 men and Samuel Wilson's son. Samuel Wilson, Yankee shrewdness was fused with a deep respect for working men. He never said go, but come on, boys, to some Americans who still disputed the ideals of revolution. Theocratic ways were startling. Oh man, it's hard to read these sometimes. His religious tolerance also stood out in a striking contrast to the widespread bigotry of an early New England. As the Wilsons approached middle age, neighborhood children adopted them as Uncle Sam and Aunt Betsy. And soon, all Troy called Mr. Wilson Uncle Sam because he was a good citizen, a good friend, and a good friend. Sam found time to start another business. He bought cattle and hogs wholesale, packed the meat, and shipped it as far as New York City during the War of 1812. He supplied beef and pork to the army on subcontract to one Albert Anderson. The casts were marked EA, USA. Albert Anderson, United States. But the story goes on. A soldier asked what the initials for another soldier from. stood for. Oh my lord. Albert Anderson and Uncle Sam. The joke caught on and was filtered through the army and then to the public. Gradually, the initials U.S. came to stand for both the United States and Uncle Sam, and Uncle Sam to stand for our country. In his old age, Uncle Sam Wilson became less active. He liked to sit for hours on his front porch, rocking chair, feet up on a railing worn thin by boots, looking over the good green countryside. He chuckled with pleasure, for Uncle Sam he knew and enjoyed knowing that his name and his figure became a symbol of his country. That's actually really cool. I had no clue Uncle Sam was based off an actual person. I did not actually know that. That is really cool, and one day I might make a whole video based on that because that is some pretty cool American lore. The Wilson clan in America. In a sense, we are all Uncle Sam's children, but many actual descendants of Uncle Sam Wilson are living today. The story of his family in the story of America. There are men and women of freedom seeking nation building stock wherever there was hard work to be done. The Wilson clan was there to do it. Some of them pushed west in the land rush of the 80s. Some did their pioneering in science and industry. Some were quiet citizens who gave the America strength by living honest lives, voting, working, and being ready to give all they could when the country when their country asked whenever everybody's Uncle Sam had a war to win. Uncle Sam Wilson's descendants have been and are ready to fight for victory. They are proving their heritage on the home front. And in the armed forces, Samuel Wilson, himself staunch, wise, generous, a typical American, might well be proud of those who came after him. Very cool. That is really cool lore. American lore, if you will. So, next up, page 37, and we are out of here. Oh, where's page 37 at? Oh, here we go. Right, sometimes this is, a tad different. The jokes on Hitler. Famous funny men flip fun at the Fuhrer, or the Fuhrer. Nightly, the commandos of the airwaves and footlights attack Hirschnickengrubber with jokes that jab. Not that they would reduce the Beast of Berlin to a laughing matter, but the funsters feel that American audiences can't fear a person they howl at. So the show goes on. Under the war banner, a belly laugh for every bomb. Fred Allen, Tetsuko Star Theater. After France was occupied by the Nazis, the Führer was anxious to learn what people thought of their new ruler. He immediately dispatched 2 members of his dreaded Gestapo to interrogate several Frenchmen. Incognito, he approached a simple-looking Parisian in a cafe and asked him how he liked Hitler. I can't answer, he responded, because some might be listening. He also took a man to a deserted barn and again asked him the same question. I'm sorry to talk, was the Frenchman's reply. There might be someone buried under the hay. Even the hay has ears. So Descasso took the man on a train which traveled 400 miles to Lake Lucenaire in Switzerland. They hired a rowboat and rowed out in the middle of the lake. Now, they said to the Frenchman, no one can hear you. You are safe here. What do you think of Hitler? And since they visibly into the water and his face was still frightened, he whispered, I like him. Bill Baker, take it or leave it. Hermann Goering and Hitler were speeding down a German road in a high-powered car when a puppy dog darted into the car's path and was killed. The Fuhrer ordered Goering to tell the dog's owner about the unfortunate accident. Goering went to a nearby house and then returned with his arms full of cheese, bread, hams, and other presents. Hitler demanded an explanation for Hermann's precious cargo. Out the door, Goring told the Fuhrer and said, Hail Hitler, the dog is dead. What the fuck? Oh, man. Lou Holtz, time out for laughs. A Frenchman walked over to a Nazi soldier in Paris store and slugged him on the jaw. Sam Yadis, who had known Beaver, walked over to a Nazi and started to knock his teeth out. Okay. Both Sam and the Frenchman were arrested. They both hauled to court. When the judge asked the Frenchman why he attacked the soldier, the Frenchman replied that the soldier had shot his nephew without any provocation. When the judge asked Lapadas what had provoked him to attack, Sam replied, when I saw a Frenchman hit the German on the jaw, I thought the war was over. Oh my lord. Ed Gardner. Archie McDuffie's Tavern. Hitler has never been a laughing matter to me. I know only one gag that really expresses my opinion of that crackpot corporal. That's the one about Hitler celebrating Father's Day by sending a telegram addressed to whom it may concern. Danny Kaye, Broadway's Let's Face It. A German had a terrible toothache and decided to have a bothersome tooth removed. He went out to one of the foremost dentists in Berlin. The dentist examined his mouth and took x-rays of the tooth. Went into consultation with the assistant, then finally said to his patient, "We can extract the tooth, but it will cost you $10,000. The German looked at the dentist in amazement. $10,000? He cried. $10,000 to pull one tooth? I never heard such a thing. I haven't either. And it shrugged, my dear sir, you forgot. We had to extract the tooth from your ear. Through my ear? The German explained. Why can't you pull it through my mouth? But it's Germany, the dentist replied, and no one can open his ear. Okay, that one is it's a little with that one. But all in all, I enjoyed this. This has been a journey. This is a lot longer than all my previous episodes. I'll be honest, but I had fun, and that's all really matters in the end, at least to me. If you enjoyed it, I hope you guys did enjoy it. Honestly, please like and subscribe for more, and peace.